right, we are going to go ahead and get started here. Just a few announcements here. As we go by and we start our grand entry this morning, we have a couple empty chairs here by the drum and just outside the drum. The one at the drum signifies a young boy's ribbon shirt who was unable to join us at the drum because he lost his life. So to pay tribute to him, we have an empty chair with a ribbon shirt here with our drummers today. Right behind the drum, we have a jingle dress, also for a young girl that was unable to perform her traditions here that were stripped from her at the boarding school. So to pay tribute to her, we have a jingle dress here in honor that they can still be a part of our culture today. With that, I will turn it over to the Onion Creek Drum, and we will start our grand entry. Please stand if you're able to. Please stand if you're able to. Mr. George Martin from the United States Air Force, carrying in the Three Firersmen Day Eagle Staff. Next, we have Anthony Forrester, United States Army and Marine Corps, carrying in the Pokagon Band Community Eagle Staff. Mr. David Perez from the United States Army, carrying in the Ogeechee Healing Staff. Mr. Dale Anderson, United States Marine Corps, carrying in the Nato-Sepi Huron Community Eagle Staff. Ms. Gail Green, United States Navy, carrying in the Bay Mills Indian Community flag. Mr. Mark Wilson, United States Army, carrying in the Grand Traverse Bay Band flag. Mr. Marvin Wilson, United States Army, carrying in the Hannahville Potawatomi Indian Community flag. Mr. Tom Wilson, United States Army, carrying in the Keweenaw Bay Indian Community flag. Mr. Carl Weesaw, United States Army, carrying in the Lac Vieux des Serres Lake Superior Chippewa Indian flag. Mr. Terry Chivas, United States Marine Corps, carrying in the Little River Band of Ottawa Indians. Mr. Jerry Campbell, United States Army, carrying in the Little Traverse Bay Band of Odawa Indians flag. Mr. Leon McFall, the United States Army, carrying in the Matchie Beneshawish Band of Potawatomi Indians or Gun Lake Tribe flag. Mr. Kelly Patrick, United States Air Force, Vietnam, carrying in our Huron Potawatomi flag. Mr. Roger Williams, Kukush, carried in the Pokagon Nation flag. Minnie Martin, our honorary Ogeechee Quay, carried in the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe flag. Mr. Kent Jackson, United States Army, carrying our Sault Ste. Marie Band Chippewa flag. Ms. Guadalupe Gonzalez, carrying in the Two-Spirit Pride flag. And Mr. Ray Cadet, United States Army, carrying our Central Michigan University flag. Miigwech to all of our veterans for dancing in those colors. miigwech to our Onion Creek drum. If I could please ask everybody to remain standing, they will now honor us with a flag song here. Yep. We have a few more to join us in the circle here, so they're going to continue the song or the grand entry here. Miigwech to our Onion Creek drum for that extended grand entry. We got everyone here in the circle. We have such a large participation here today honoring those students. We now turn it over to our Onion Creek for the flag song, so please ask that everybody remain standing.
Hey!
Miigwech to the Onion Creek Drum for that flag song. I will now release it to head veteran George Martin here as we will post our colors underneath the tent. So if we could clear a path right through here, George will come this way into our tent. All right, once again, a big Miigwech to all of our veterans here helped us with our grand entry, carrying in our flags and our Eagle staffs today. Miigwech to them. As we transition into our next part of the program here, we are going to do the student roll call. So if I could have everyone come take a seat, that will take place out here in the middle. We have members of our youth council today. We have Zachary Jackson, our secretary, and Abigail Nadi, our youth council member, going to be reading the names of those that lost their lives here at the boarding school today. So I welcome everybody back underneath the tent for some shade. If you have some places set up here, or the students once again to find a seat here, we will transition into the next portion of our agenda, the student roll call, remembering the deceased. Serving as a reminder today, we also have to do a lot of fundraising to make sure that this event takes place annually, and to make sure that we have the successful turnout that we do. So today we not only have a 50-50 drawing, so please find a member of the event staff if you like 50-50 tickets, but we have a silent auction as well, and that will open now. So you can begin bidding on all these items underneath the tent here on the north side of the property. We have a lot of great items that were turned in by community members, community departments, all of those that wanted to help contribute to the honoring, healing, and remembering. So please take a chance to get under the tent, look at all these great items, participate in that 50-50 for a chance to win a little bit of cash today. So please help support the Honoring, Healing, and Remembering Day. So I urge you here to please come check out these items, and that will be open until 3:30 p.m. today. Both of them will stay open until 3:30 p.m. today. So you have not only this morning but early afternoon. Make sure you get a chance to check those out. We're going to use the other mic from the drum for give each students one of them. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I know, and I get the gun and all that, yeah.
Just gonna slide this chair forward so we're down.
I know, I figured.
And
Yeah, I'll see you around. Good to see you.
two. Again, we'd like to thank some of our key partners here today in the funding mechanisms in which to help us promote this event and make this event successful today. So a majority of our funding came from the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe Tribal Historic Preservation Office's grants through the National Park Service. So a Miigwech to the grant funding to help us with educational outreach and awareness for events such as these. We also want to thank Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe Tribal Council for allowing departments to use some of their budget dollars and make sure that they help promote this event as well as all those other communities that have stepped up and helped us put on this great event year after year. So we do say a big chimigwetch to everyone who helps make this event run and make it successful. If I could have Daisy Costas join us over here, join me and Willie underneath the north side of the tent here. Daisy, I know I've seen you here this morning. Just asking for your participation here with Mr. Willie. Check.
I designed it. Lisa made it for me. Yeah. Well, I had this dream about this group. And so when I was here 2 years ago and I said, oh, I don't know. I felt the spirit of the children. They came to me and
All right, well, thank you everyone once again for joining us in our grand entry this morning. Next, we will go into the Remembering the Deceased portion of our program. It is my privilege to introduce a couple of our Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe Youth Council members who will be doing the student roll call for us this morning. If I could have Mr. Zachary Jackson, the Secretary, and Abigail Nadi, Youth Council member, join me up front. And we do ask that we are respectful during this process and we stay quiet and silent so that we can properly pay tribute and homage to all of those that lost their lives here.
Reed Claude Perns.
Jenny Adams.
David Chiffinry Chippewa. Isaac Bird. Peter Adams.
Anna Jackson. Sarah Adams.
Jay Harrington.
Mercy Hall. Sarah Chickwan. Matilda Bradley. Minnie Thompson.
Willie Jackson. Joseph Bennett.
Elsa Bradley.
Joseph Chippewa.
Grace Nottawa. Izzy Spurs.
Edward Missinger.
Grace Silas.
Joseph Hardley.
Emma Redbird.
Samuel Shaw. William Windigosh. Eddie Winnie. Lou Jackson Jr. Jacob Magonts. Alexander Shaw. Edwin Andrew.
Girl Student of Government School Anna Fitney.
Jason Corbin.
Effie Shabusi. Shabus.
Lyman Simon Elk. Peter O. Fish.
Maud Lyons.
Peter Eggleston.
Anna Pontiac. Emma Bills Jackson.
Samuel Foster.
Sarah Watson.
Edward Green.
Esther Otto. Martha Seelutz. Jesse Chatfield. Victoria Fitchett.
Kenny Bradley.
Emma Williams.
Louis Kewegoshkam.
Jenny B. Grit. Jenny Kig. Jenny Kagaboo.
John Pontiac. Robert Pashney.
Alice Chichacum.
James Jackson. Joseph Solomon.
Jenny Bennett.
David Williams.
Ida Johnson.
Joseph Pontiac.
Amelia Battis. Edmund Chivness.
Lyman Jackson.
Blanche Bellows. Celia Rapp.
Edward Chiner.
Jane Pontiac. Annabelle Wimagwantz. Louis Strong.
John Chippewa. Thomas Eggson. Ulysses S. Pelcher.
Mary Bocha. Mary Stone.
William Thomas. Daniel Strong.
Nancy Bennett. Ida Bilton. Rosa Elk.
Henry Gilbo. Noah Henry. James Hamlin. Louis Valier.
Bessie Irons. Emma Thompson. Esther Solomon. Andrew Thompson.
John Thomas.
Mary Carbon.
Roland Paul.
Elma Paul. Francis Shasaw.
Annie Eunice Pigo.
Jenny Carbon. Mary Pelcher. Dina Gan. Dina Gannon.
Eli Wheaton. Daniel Thompson.
Teresa Kosha.
William F. Winchester. William Battis Bailey. Robert Marks.
Mary Williams,
Joseph Gravel.
Jeanette Thompson,
Elijah Jackson. Wesley Moses. Wesley Peters.
Deli Bennett, Elizabeth Adams,
Adam Paul. David Kiwe Clouds.
Alice Walker, Lena Hedgekas,
Richard Foster. Samson Williams.
Aggie Foster,
Oscar LaHaye. Daniel Agosa.
Naomi Pelcher, Carla Fisher, Rachel Collins,
Charlie Nixon.
Ed, Ed, Ida James Fisher, Julia Bailey, Rose O'Daman, Lucielle Chippewa,
Joseph Chippewa.
Allison Peters,
Dennison Pelcher.
Lena Elk, Roberta Whitton, Flossie Jackson Blackmer, Carla Collins,
Fred Foster. Collins Moses. Isaac Ashqua Aquab.
Lena Otto,
Edward Jackson.
Ellen Kay,
William Corbin.
Nancy Bennett, Thelma Peters, Eva Mae Chapman, girl student of government school, Wadel Shamans,
Daniel Thompson. Joseph Williams. Wallington Pelcher. Theodore Jackson. Edward Novotny.
Mary Bowen,
Clarence Medavis. Loggers Collins. William Osagwin.
Blanche Bennett, Helen Andrews, Mary Shawin,
Louis Joseph. Silas Hoot Hart. Zula Bula Fisher. Frederick Fisher.
Regina Fisher,
Henry Thompson. Henry Pigo. David Lapointe.
Elsie Gertrude Gijik,
Myron Gordon.
Rhoda Collins, Leota Sagan, Charlotte Watson,
Isaiah Walker, David Thompson,
Mary Ann Dutton, Bessie Brown, Martha Tigwans,
Joe Alexander, Wilson Johnson, Dennis Dutton, Charles Shaganaby,
Jenny Rapp, Rebecca Shayka, Sarah Shayka,
Wallace Shaker,
Agnes Dutton, Elizabeth Rapp,
Joseph Ayak,
Grace Dutton,
William Westbrook,
Angelina Johnson, Victoria Rapp,
Frank Dutton,
Magia Francis,
Albert Francis, George Williams, Joss Adams, Edward Andrews,
Martha Cones, Grace Peter Bennett, Esther Sophie Agosa, Agnes Agosa, Elsie Agosa,
John Francois,
Elizabeth Otto, Louise Augusta,
Harry Pashney, Charles Augusta,
Eliza Pano,
Joseph Bennett,
Elizabeth Augusta, Lucy Jackson Davis, Rose Joseph Sampson, Sarah Williams, Pearl Fisher, Grace Huntley Pontiac, Ida Andrews Brunswick, Jesse Kagigeb, Elizabeth Thompson, Mary Williams,
Isaac Mix, Raymond Chatfield, Amos Williams,
Amelia Johnson,
Barney Pontiac,
Maggie Cummings, Ida Rose Isaac Absquib.
Miigwech to both Zach and to Abigail for reading that student roll call. A pretty powerful and pretty emotional thing here as we remember those that forgot their lives here. So if we could please just a moment of silence to recognize all of those individuals. And miigwech. So the Zebewing Center research team discovered those 225 student deaths utilizing newspaper articles on microfilm, county death records, and other historical documents. It's reported that the MIBS administrative records reported only 5 deaths throughout the 41-year school history. So showing that those administrative records and the documentation of the government only reported 5, and we found 225. We continue to seek the truth and all those things that happen here at the boarding school, and are committed to remembering the history and educating people on that history. If I could have everyone please stand, we will now ask the Onion Creek Drum to help us and join us in an honor song. McGuetch to our Onion Creek drum for the honor song. All right, next part of our program, we're going to be doing Inside the Tent here. We're going to have some welcome remarks from our tribal chief. We also have some distinguished guests here that we are proud to host to our ceremonies today. So if I could have Chief Frank Latier, President George Ross, and Mayor Kathy Ling join me on stage, we will transition into that portion of the program next.
I was quoted in the brochure that it was very important that we remember those who attended this school and never returned home. To lessen their time here at the Indian Industrial Boarding School would risk forgetting what has happened here and take away from the opportunity to heal. Today, we honor all those students and celebrate their time with us, whether it be in life or in spirit. We do everything we can to support our youth because we understand through education they can become those elders that are the holders of the wisdom, that know and understand the logic of our Creator and our people. It's very important that we continue to support these children so they can make a measurable difference in society and they can make our homes a better place to be. As long as we continue to remember and we make ourselves aware of what happened here on these grounds, we are absolutely destined to not repeat that for the future. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a cause for celebration. Let's give that a big round of applause. In thought, mind, and spirit, I ask that each of you walk today with the spirit of each and every one of these youth who walked on before us. And Willie Johnson said it best some time ago, they've gone. They've met their end and they're on another path. But we remember their time here, and we remember the life they shared with others while they were here. On behalf of the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe, once again, a very hearty Miigwech from myself and my tribal council, and I hope and pray that somehow today, each and every one of you are blessed with what has happened here over the years and what we're doing to celebrate these children. Miigwech and God bless.
Miigwech, Chief Latier. I want to take this time now, before I introduce our next speaker, to acknowledge all of our council members, not only from the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe, but from other tribes throughout Michigan and other regions if you traveled here today. So if I could have any council members here representing other tribes, please stand, either current or past council members. I'd just like to acknowledge you and give you a big round of applause in Miigwech today. And we thank you for your support of today's event and for allowing your communities to partake in this. It means a lot not only to our community, but to those communities as well. Our next guest is the 14th President of Central Michigan University. It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you Dr. George Ross, President of Central Michigan University.
Thank you, Eric. Good morning. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, the faculty, students, and staff of Central Michigan University, it is an honor and a privilege to be part of this ceremony today. This is a true testament to Central Michigan University's partnership and friendship with the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe. As together we honor those who have passed from the boarding school. Remember those who attended the school and continue to heal from the devastating effects of that era in our history. Today's ceremony helps us find a place of honor and respect for each other. 8 years ago, representatives of the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe organized a journey to forgiveness, a walk from the tribal center to this site. Many members of the CMU and Mount Pleasant communities participated in that event, which recognized what happens when we distrust, when we have prejudice and an attitude of supremacy prevails. The journey to forgiveness was a tangible act of the tribal community to forgive the unforgivable and to allow the healing process to begin. For several years, CMU students, under the leadership of faculty member Dr. Sarah Surface Evans have studied the school's history and the lives of the former students. This important work has helped us better understand and learn from the atrocities that these children endured during the school's history. We're forever grateful to the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe for providing CMU the honor of being responsible for the significant field research. CMU's collaboration with Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe is deeply rooted, not just through educational, cultural, and ceremonial celebration, but through the dialogue and through mutual respect. For the benefit of our community, our state, our country, and our world, and our future generations, we must continue to embrace the tremendous opportunities that we share as neighbors and the richness of our cultural heritages. Today, we stand together in this spirit. We've come together to honor, heal, and remember not only the children who perished at this school, but the children who survived, the terrible injustices that attempted to rob them of their culture and their language. Our university stands with you today to commemorate this historic moment and to celebrate the strength of a people, a culture, and a community. Together, we embrace the future. Thank you again for allowing us to be part of today's ceremony and to express the honor and respect that CMU has and will continue to have for our Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe brothers, sisters, neighbors, and friends. Thank you.
Miigwech President Ross for the kind words and truly highlighting the collaborative efforts that we do have between the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe and Central Michigan University that go a long ways. They do a lot with the research, as you said, a lot with the history here at the boarding school, and for him and their board to allow their staff to work with us and our teams, we are forever grateful to them. Next, we have Mayor Kathy Ling from the City of Mount Pleasant, who shares another collaborative partnership that we have. The city, as you've known, sold this property to this Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe to honor it properly and make sure that we are caretakers of this property. So for that, we are grateful. And on behalf of the City of Mount Pleasant, I'd like to welcome Mayor Kathy Ling.
Can I see? Bonjour. I'm going to go like this a little bit there. Can you hear me? So I can see you. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this ceremony today. On behalf of the City Commission, and the staff, including Commissioner Kulik, who's here in the back, and our Director of Community Services, Bill Merdeza, who's here, it's an honor to be asked to be a part of this important remembrance that happens each year in our community. On behalf of the city, I'd like to welcome those of you who've traveled here to be a part of this event. And I'd like to thank the tribe for the work that they have done over the years in making this event possible. I was able this morning to take part in the sunrise ceremony, which is not usually when I'm up in the morning. I'm usually a sunset person, not a sunrise person. But it was a beautiful ceremony, and this is the third or fourth time that I've had the opportunity to participate. And I'd really like to thank those who were involved in it. George Martin and Steve Pago, Judy Pamp, and the women of tradition, the veterans who were part of that. We had a beautiful morning, and as Judy pointed out, as the ceremony was going on, the birds were singing in the background. It was really a great way to start the day. I want to talk briefly about the three words that are used for the ceremony each year: the honoring, the healing, and the remembering. But I want to reverse the order a little bit and talk about the remembering, because I think that one of the most important parts of this ceremony is that it is not just remembering, but it is educating the community about what happened at the boarding schools here and in other places in the country. And I'll make a confession. Before I was mayor, I taught. I became a member of the City Commission after I retired. But I taught for many years at Mount Pleasant High School. And part of the time I taught American history. And I'll make a confession to you. When I first started teaching American history, I didn't do a very good job of teaching about Native American history, about the Native peoples and the history that occurred in this country before the European invasion, because I didn't know much about it. Because what is true is the history of this country prior to the arrival of the Europeans had been virtually ignored in most American history textbooks. Most started with 1492, as if that was kind of the beginning of history in this country. And you can't teach what you don't know. And since I didn't know it, I didn't teach it. Fortunately, because I was teaching in this community and because of the work done by the tribe, I learned over time. And the place where I really began to learn about it was about 1990, 1991. There started to be a lot of discussion about the 500th anniversary of Columbus arriving in the Western Hemisphere. And I discovered it was very controversial, and how it should be acknowledged was very controversial. So I started doing some reading, and I learned so much that I didn't know before about what had actually happened and the devastating impact and the millions of people who lost their lives. And as a result of that, I've developed a real appreciation for the suffering, the strength, and especially the resilience of the many Native peoples who, despite all of the obstacles and problems that they've had to deal with and the efforts to try to extinguish, annihilate at first and then assimilate, the culture has survived. And it's survived because of groups like the Zebwing Center, the Mount Pleasant Indian Industrial Boarding School Committee. People have really committed themselves to making sure that we know that history. So first we have to know it. Then we can remember it, and it's important to remember it. The second thing is honoring. And I wanted to briefly mention how grateful the city is for the work that's been done by Central Michigan University and by the tribe in helping us as we develop this property, this 300 acres that is shared between the Tribal Council and the city of Mount Pleasant. And as we go forward in trying to figure out the best use of the property, it is important to honor and respect the past. And as Dr. Ross mentioned, Sarah Surface Evans, Willie Johnson, Shannon Martin, director of the Zebwing Center, have played a very important role in helping us to respect the past and honor the past as we move forward. And then the final term is healing. And I am very hopeful that as we move forward with the development of this property, it will be a basis for healing what have sometimes been very troubled relationships over the last centuries and decades, and that we will march forward together and develop this property in a way that shows respect and honors the past and allows us to work together in the future. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this ceremony, and I hope that it will continue to be an important part of our community in the future. Thank you. Meg Rich.
Chief Miigwech, Mayor Ling, and our guest today talked about those partnerships, those relationships, and truly we can't do it alone. So I humbly and respectfully thank you, each and every one of you, for what it is that you do and help on the educational outreach and awareness, and allow members of your staff and members of your teams to help us in educating exactly what took place and teaching the true history of what happened here at the boarding school. One more round of applause for all our guests this morning and those welcome remarks.